Football was introduced to Algeria in the 19th century by Europeans. As a French colony from 1830 to 1962, Algeria wasn't allowed to have its own national football team, and Algerian club sides could compete in the North African Championship against other French colonies if they won their regional leagues. Algerian sides routinely got the better of their Moroccan and Tunisian counterparts in these fixtures, but they were the last of the three to gain independence. Since gaining independence, Algeria's national team has played in 4 World Cups, twice in the 1980s and twice in the 2010s. They've won just 3 games in those 4 finals, most famously a shock 2-1 win over Germany in their World Cup debut in 1982. Algeria have won the African Cup of Nations twice, once in 1990 and most recently in 2019, but they almost certainly would have enjoyed even greater success if every player who had been eligible to represent them had chosen to do so. I've done videos like this now for Jamaica, Congo, Nigeria and Turkey, and it's possible that I might still do 1 or 2 of them in the future. For those of you who haven't watched any of those videos and don't subscribe to the channel, I take every current Algerian international and every player who would have been eligible to represent Algeria, and then I make a best 11, a 7-man bench, and appoint a manager from the available pool. Also, now would be the time to subscribe and join the HITC7's family. Here is my Algeria 11 if all eligible players had declared for them. Goalkeeper: Alexander Oukidja. An Algerian international only since March 2019, Alexander Oukidja holds both a French and an Algerian passport. Born in Nevers in central France to a French mother and an Algerian father, Oukidja accepted a call-up from Algeria and made his international debut against Tunisia earlier this year. There isn't a great deal to split arguably 4 goalkeepers in the battle for our number 1 shirt, but Oukidja is as worthy a candidate as any. The 31-year-old plays in Golfe Metz in Ligue 1, having won promotion with the club last season. Right back: Issa Mandi. A very accomplished defender who I suspect will be familiar with a number of our subscribers, Issa Mandi has been starring for Real Betis in La Liga since 2016. Mandi was born in the northeast of France to an Algerian mother and a father from Algeria's second city of Oran. Before that, Mandi played for Rennes, a team he joined at the age of 8. A smart and athletic defender who can play as either a right back or centre back, Mandi has won 51 caps for Algeria since 2014, and he played a starring role for the country at both the 2014 World Cup and in their 2019 AFCON success. Centre back: Mehdi Benatia. Mehdi Benatia was born in France to a Moroccan dad and an Algerian mother, meaning he was eligible to represent all 3 nations. The Algeria shirt is the only one of the 3 that Benatia has never worn, having represented France under 18 level, and Morocco under 20 and senior level. Now aged 32, Benatia has won 58 caps for Morocco, becoming one of the nation's most accomplished players of all time. Formerly of Roma, Bayern Munich and Juventus, Benatia has won multiple league titles in both Germany and Italy, thrice making the Confederation of African Football's Team of the Year. Benatia left Europe in 2019 to join recently renamed Qatari outfit Al Duhail as he winds down on his playing days, but he's still a nailed-on starter here. Centre back: Benjamin Stambouli. Another nailed-on starter in this 11 is Benjamin Stambouli. The only debate is whether he starts at centre back or in holding midfield. The 29-year-old is strong, hard-working, and prefers to play his way out of trouble than hitting the ball long. Stambouli began his career as a centre-back, where he won a Ligue 1 title with Montpellier before being moved into defensive midfield. He's comfortable in either position, but has largely returned to centre-back over the last couple of seasons. Stambouli made 14 appearances for France under 21 level, but the 29-year-old is yet to win a cap for the senior team. He is eligible to represent Algeria through his Algerian-born father, but Stambouli denied rumours that he would be willing to represent the country in 2018. He partners Mehdi Benatia at centre-back. Left back: Fawzi Ghoulam. Probably the most underrated left back in the world, Fawzi Ghoulam is a brilliant footballer who suffered an awful setback in late 2017. As with every player in this 11 so far, Ghoulam was born in France. Both of Ghoulam's parents are Algerian, and despite making 2 appearances for France's under-21s, the fullback stated his intentions to represent Algeria at senior level as early as 2010. It was at the 2013 African Cup of Nations that Ghoulam actually first represented Algeria, and he has won 35 caps since then. Quick, industrious, and a brilliant crosser of the ball, Ghoulam is a really creative outlet down the left flank. He was playing some of the best football of his career and was named as Algerian Footballer of the Year in 2017, but in early November, he suffered a devastating ACL injury against Manchester City in the Champions League. Thankfully, the 28-year-old has been back in action for around a year now, and he was among the most obvious inclusions in this entire 11. Defensive midfield, Nabil Bentaleb. French-born central or holding midfielder Nabil Bentaleb has been representing Algeria since February 2014, pledging his allegiance to the country shortly before the 2014 World Cup. Before that, Bentaleb had represented France under 19 level, and Tim Sherwood suggested that England were looking at the midfielder in January 2014, despite the fact the Home Nations Agreement meant Bentaleb could never have been eligible to represent England. Bentaleb has gone on to win 35 caps for Algeria, and he left Tottenham to sign for Schalke in 2017. Still only 24, Bentaleb has added maturity to his game since his time in North London, along with having a terrific work rate and good technique on the ball. He's the deepest of our trio of rather attack-minded midfielders. Central midfield, Houssem Aouar. Impossible to overlook off the back of his last 2 seasons at Lyon, Houssem Aouar is a fantastic young playmaker. Born in Lyon, Aouar joined the Lyon Academy at the age of 11, the same year that his idol Juninho left the club. He now wears Juninho's iconic number 8 shirt at the Parc Olympique Lyonnais, and right now, he is doing the shirt justice. Aged 21, Aouar registered a combined total of 14 goals and assists in 35 Ligue 1 games last season, and been similarly impressive in 2017-18. He is a star man at both Lyon and with France's under-21 side, but is yet to break into Didier Deschamps' incredibly competitive France squad. Aouar can play in central midfield, attack midfield, or even on the left flank, where his touch, technique, and eye for a pass make him a constant menace. There have been claims in the Algerian media that Aouar has decided to represent Algeria rather than France, but I have yet to see anything substantive behind them. On current form, I'd be very surprised if the Man City-linked youngster didn't hold out for a call-up from the reigning world champions, but I've been wrong in the past. Attacking midfield, Nabil Fekir. The best players available to me with this 11 were attacking players, and whilst I always like to keep these fancy 11s balanced and realistic, we do inevitably have a pretty attacking midfield triangle. There's no way that I could leave Nabil Fekir out of this side, so he comes in as an attacking midfielder. The Frenchman can play out wide on either flank or as a striker, but he now looks happiest when given a free role in behind a centre forward. Absolutely fantastic in full flow, Fekir is quick, elegant, and loves to run with the ball. His excellent form for Lyon saw him twice make the Ligue 1 team of the season and almost sign for Liverpool, but he ended up joining Real Betis earlier this year instead. Back in 2015, Fekir reportedly told the Algeria manager Christian Gourcuff that he would be happy to play for Algeria. In March 2015 though, Fekir withdrew from the Algeria squad in favour of playing for France, with whom he has since won 23 caps and 1 World Cup. Right wing, Riyad Mahrez. Algeria's outstanding player right now, Riyad Mahrez just won Manchester City's Player of the Month award for September. Mahrez came in for some stick during his first season at the Etihad, despite posting impressive numbers in terms of both goals and assists, and Pep Guardiola has shown further evidence of how highly he rates the 28-year-old so far this season. Born in France to Algerian parents, there was probably a time when Mahrez thought he would never have to pick which nation he wanted to represent at international level. Rejected by a number of youth teams due to his slender build, Mahrez was playing in the 4th tier at 19 and only got his first taste of top-flight football in any country when Leicester won promotion in 2014. He exploded into life during the Foxes title-winning campaign though, being named as the PFA Players Player of the Year and African Footballer of the Year as he netted 17 times from the right flank. Mahrez became the most expensive African footballer of all time in a 2018 move to Man City, and he played a starring role as Algeria won the 2019 African Cup of Nations. Left wing, Kylian Mbappe. The star man even in a star-studded attacking lineup, Kylian Mbappe is the finest young player of his generation. Remarkably still only 20 years old, Mbappe has already scored 93 goals in 164 games, with 39 of those goals coming in just 43 appearances last season. With lightning pace, quick feet, and a real single-mindedness when it comes to scoring goals, Mbappe running at you is among the most terrifying sights any defender could lay their eyes upon. He put in excellent displays against Argentina and Croatia as France won the 2018 World Cup, being named as the best young player at the tournament, but it could all have been very different. Mbappe was eligible to represent Algeria through his mother and Cameroon through his father, but he somewhat unsurprisingly chose to represent the nation of his birth. The second most expensive footballer of all time, Mbappe has already scored 13 goals from 33 caps for France, despite his tender years. He is among the most dangerous forwards on the planet, and his inclusion in this 11 was as sure as the fact that he would beat Martin Di Michelis in a 100-metre dash. Centre forward, Karim Benzema. Karim Benzema was courted by the Algerian Football Federation as a youngster, and given the way in which his France career has panned out, he may be wishing he took them up on the offer. Benzema has actually won 81 caps and has scored 27 goals for France, but he has been completely frozen out since 2015, despite the fact he has had the most successful period of his Real Madrid career since then. Benzema's international career effectively ended, under Didier Deschamps at least, during the 2015 Valbuena case. When left out of the France squad for a subsequent match, Benzema claimed Deschamps had bowed to the pressure of the racist part of France. A recall after that seemed unlikely, and one has never arrived. The 6th highest goal scorer in the history of Real Madrid and the 4th highest scorer in the history of the Champions League, Benzema is a staggeringly underrated footballer. The team, including substitutes and a manager. Moving swiftly onto the bench, we start with backup goalkeeper Raïs Mbouli, who, surprise surprise, was born in France but represents Algeria, with whom he has won 68 caps. Another player who simply has to join him on the bench is recent Borussia Mönchengladbach signing Ramy Bensebaini. Excellent cover at centre-back and left-back, Bensebaini has not only won 25 caps for Algeria at the age of 24, he was actually born there too. Joining him is fellow Algerian-born Algerian international Youssef Attal, who is Nice's first-choice right-back, meaning we have cover across our entire back line on the bench. We have to find a place for Safir Taider among our substitutes to give us some reinforcements a little deeper in midfield. Formerly of Bologna and Inter Milan, Taider represented France at youth level, but now represents Algeria, and he currently plays his club football on loan at Montreal Impact in Canada. Next up is one of the best known French internationals of Algerian descent, and that's Samir Nasri. Excellent in his final season at Arsenal, Nasri won 41 caps for France and now plays for Anderlecht under his former teammate Vincent Kompany. Algeria star Yacine Brahimi can consider himself unfortunate to have missed out on the first 11, a victim of the excellent front three of Mahrez, Mbappe and Benzema, but the ex-Porto star is nailed on when it comes to our bench. Finally, as backup to Karim Benzema, we have his former international teammate André Pierre Gignac. Capped 36 times by France between 2009 and 2016, Gignac is a really prolific target man who is a nightmare for defenders to live with. Formerly of Toulouse and Marseille, Gignac made an unusual move to Tigres in Mexico in 2015, where he has become a real star in Liga MX. The centre-forward has scored 106 goals in 190 games for the Central Americans, winning 4 league titles. In charge of our what-if Algerian 11, it has to be the best-known French international of Algerian descent of all time, Zinedine Zidane. Both of Zizou's parents were Algerian immigrants to Paris, where the future World Cup winner grew up, and the 3-time Champions League winning boss is the obvious candidate to take charge of this side. To recap, our what-if Algerian 11 reads like this: Alexander Ukidja, Issa Mandi, Mehdi Benatia, Benjamin Stambouli, Fawzi Goulam, Nabil Bentaleb, Houssam Aouar, Nabil Fekir, Riyad Mahrez, Kylian Mbappe, and Karim Benzema, with a bench made up of Raïs Mbouli, Ramy Bensebaini, Youssef Attal, Safir Taider, Samir Nasri, Yacine Brahimi, and André Pierre Gignac, and of course, managed by the great Zinedine Zidane. That's not a bad looking team at all, and whilst I wouldn't say they were world champions in the making, I think that front line would make them very good candidates to progress through the group stages of a World Cup, and maybe even trouble the quarter and at best the semi-finals. That's it for today's video. Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. Since you've got this far and in exchange for eternal good luck and happiness, why not subscribe and turn on notifications for the ever brilliant HITC sounds. Also, for mobile users, if you click on your screen now there should be some suggestions of other videos YouTube thinks you might like, and I agree with YouTube. If you're watching on desktop, they should appear of their own accord. Thank you all for watching, give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a brilliant day.